Hello, I'm just Sir, and welcome to the Arsenal fan experience. Today I'll be going in depth into the Arsenal Crystal Palace game. As we get into it today, Arsenal has obviously been off for a couple of weeks now, and they look to return to the groove that they had before the international break when they took on Brighton and Hove Albion. And particularly as we look at the starting lineup today, and one notable addition to the starting lineup was Nicola Pepe, and who's had a slow start to the season, but he would end up playing a monumental impact in the Arsenal's result today. Specifically, as we get into it, Pepe was all over the ball in the first few minutes and ultimately put in a great cross into the box for Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang, who, with his new haircut, looked stylish as heck and put it into the net, beating Vitente Guaita of Crystal Palace, making it 1-0 for Arsenal. And those two, there's such good chemistry, and when they're on form, they're deadly, and that goal was evident of that. But after that goal, Arsenal seemed to kind of slow down their urgency and kind of played a very nonchalant the rest of the first half, and that would be that wouldn't be good, as Crystal Palace had their own chance at the end of the half, and with that newfound momentum, they would take it into the second half. As 3 minutes in the second half, in the 48th minute, Christian Benteke would end up equalizing. And Benteke has been very, very sneaky and underrated this season for Crystal Palace. But going back to that goal, there was a call for potential foul on Jordan Ayew, but that was put away, and Crystal Palace obviously equalized. And going into the second half, Arsenal would end up substituting on Albert Sambi-Lokonga for Bukayo Saka. And Saka just wasn't himself today. He would end up getting a yellow card in the half, and it just looks like all of his plays kind of caught up to him, and he got a deserved break in the second half. But the two guys I've been most surprised with so far this season, Sambi-Lokonga and Tomiyasu, who is just so happened who was just named the Player of the Month for September, did not have the best performances today. And I think just overall the team wasn't nearly able to find their footing after the first goal, as they started to play as I feel like when they play teams like Crystal Palace, who are at the mid-table, they play to the level of their opponent, and it's apparent. And it was apparent in this game, as they could play pretty well against top six caliber teams like Tottenham, but games like Crystal Palace are more of a challenge. Maybe that's because of the fact that they are more equal in terms of skill level now, and I want to admit that I think that this Arsenal team is flawed, but they're still a very competent team while at it. So anyway, furthermore, Crystal Palace once again have a couple of great chances, which was finished off by Odsonne Edouard, Kieran Tierney's former teammate at Celtic, and he would make it 2-1 for Crystal Palace. And this is where Crystal Palace really took control of the game, and full credit to Patrick Vieira. Not only was he the maestro at Arsenal, but as a manager so far at Crystal Palace, he's been very good. And I know firsthand, seeing him in New York City FC a couple of years ago, and he is the real deal, and not an example of a former elite player not making the transition to coaching. like we've seen countless times in the past. And as he looked to win his first game at the Emirates, Arsenal would make a invaluable substitution in bringing on Alexander Lacazette. And it was a much needed substitution because they needed some more attack options up top, as Aubameyang wasn't really getting it done today, besides the lone goal. And with Arsenal kept on pressuring, they couldn't seem to suffice the Crystal Palace D. And they would again, like in typical Arsenal fashion, they waited to the 90 plus minute, in the 90 plus 4 minute at a time, on a corner kick. And definitely wasn't the prettiest of plays, but through a Ben White shot that Guaita saved, Alexander Lacazette was able to put it away and give Arsenal a 2-2 draw. And it was definitely a very intense game, and something that I normally don't see in a matchup between these two teams. And I'm perfectly okay with that. I think that Crystal Palace was very impressive today. Arsenal still has some tweaks to work on, but overall, I think that they should be uh, complacent with this game. Obviously, it's a short week. They play once again on Friday against Aston Villa, so there's no really opportunity for them to celebrate. And I don't know what there is to celebrate about this game, as I definitely, as once again, it wasn't a lot of improvement throughout the game, which I would have liked to see. Although once again, Aaron Ramsdale made a couple great saves, and he would generally probably be my man of the match, as he attempted to salvage their result. So anyway, with this result, they do stay at in just below mid-table, and that they travel over to Aston Villa on Friday, which is not going to be a very easy game, and they have to face off against their former goalkeeper Emiliano Martinez. So anyway, leave a like, subscribe to see more of my analysis to Arsenal's games, and join me next time as Arsenal takes on Aston Villa. Arrivederci.